Okay, next we are going to look at a combination chart, and we have done combination charts previously. So, this will be another opportunity to practice, but I am going to introduce a new concept here, finding date difference. Suppose we want to plot how many days does it take from the time an order is placed to the time the order is shipped. Okay. So, we have two dates here, ship date and then we have order date. So, what is the time difference? How long does it take, right, for orders to be shipped? So, what we need to do is to create a new calculated field to calculate the difference. So, we will call this time to ship, right. So, we cannot, for example, do this, okay, ship date minus order date. Well, it does say valid, but I don't know what answer it will give. But there is a function which calculates the difference in whatever time unit that you want. Okay, so, here if you do this, I guess it will make the difference between these two dates from the numerical value with which the dates are stored in the background, and whatever that is we do not know, right. So, we should really use the built-in function, like Excel has lots of functions, right. So, like that Tableau or any other platform, okay, they all have functions. So, we have what is called date related functions. So, here are several different, so there is a whole list of functions that are related to date. So, here we want the difference between two dates. So, we will use DATEDIFF, right. So, DATEDIFF. Now, DATEDIFF obviously needs two dates, right, start date and the end date. So, it can compute the difference, okay. And the first part, okay, is called date part. Okay. Date part here refers to how the difference in the date should be calculated or in what time unit. Okay. So, we have okay, so here are the possible values for date part. So, if you specify like that, it will give you the difference calculated as number of years, okay, or quarter would be 1 through 4. So, which means like if you take a difference between ship date and the order date, if it is in the same year, then the answer will be 0. Okay. It is not going to take the difference in, like for example, how many seconds there are and convert it into how many years that number of seconds refers to. No, that is not how it works. Okay. So, it will convert each date into the specified date part and then it will find the difference. Okay. Same here, if the two dates are in the same quarter, you get 0 as the answer for the difference. Okay. So, now what we are going to do is we are going to use that one. Okay. So, we go day, right? And then the start date is the, okay, which one is right? Order date, and the end date is ship date, right? And then the last part, start of week, is irrelevant for us in this particular case. It's optional anyway. So depending upon, okay, the start week parameter, which you can use to specify which day is to be considered first day of the week. Okay, I don't know why it says or the week. So possible values are like, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. All right. So if it is omitted, the start week is determined by the data source. So we're going to just omit that. So now calculation is valid, right? Okay. So now we have time to ship, right? Okay. So now I'm going to deviate a little bit from the notes, and I'll fix the notes later. Okay. Suppose we want to look at order priority and then see within each order priority what is the, that's probably the logical place for you to look at how long does it take to ship, right? So let's put order priority there, and then time to ship over here. All right. Okay. So now what do you notice? You notice here, okay, these are 2,727, 2,777 days. That doesn't make sense, does it? And that's because, see, the default aggregation is sum. So all the orders that fall under a particular order priority, it takes all those orders and then it adds up the ship to time to ship for all of those orders. So you end up with total ship to time to ship of all the orders falling into a particular category. So that's not really very helpful. What would be helpful? What could we change this aggregation to? Well, if you change it to average, that will give us how long does it take for an average order, right? So average will make a lot more sense. So here we have like 1.5, 1.4, 4.2, and so on, right? So that's the order priority. Okay, so let's do a little bit of, okay, so, and we could probably do a filter for okay, and okay, let's look at ship to date. So let's do the label. Okay, so label needs to be formatted. It's time to ship. Pane. So let's see. Maybe 1 decimal place is sufficient. So we can put a suffix. Okay. And so we can build average days to ship and we can get rid of the field name. We don't need that, right? And we don't need the order priority label. So here we can change the title to say by order priority. So okay. Now since we already have average days here, maybe we don't need the days here as well repeated, but that's just a judgment call. You know, you could include it or not, because it's much more direct here than have to look at the title. So I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. Now if we want to overlay sales plot on top of this, right, then we go to sales, okay. So now here is sales. Now sales is in bar, so we need to first change the so here is automatic puts it in bar, so we'll change that to a line. Okay, we can change the color if you want to make it a little, give a little contrast between the bars and the line. So now we change the chart into a dual axis chart. We do that by going here, changing it to dual axis. Okay. So when you do dual axis, somehow the marks here changes to circle. So let's go back in here and change that to bars. Okay. So then do a little bit of let's put tick mark, change it to, so we have less tick marks here. Okay, we need to format the numbers. So that's axis. Make sure that sales is selected. So here is the scale. Change it to display units. Okay. Now one last thing we need to do is to take care of these labels along the line. So that's your sales. You can change the label to line ends, or maybe just minimum and maximum. Okay. And once again we need to format those default or pane. In pane you have to change it to okay. Now there is one other thing we can do is to make sure that instead of this not specified taking up too much width here or height. So we can change the alias, then say none or something. So okay. So when you do your work, okay, you need to think of not just how to do the chart, but also think about how to format the chart and make it more, like apply the concepts that are covered in the storytelling book. Okay.